Hello, folks. This is Kevin from Good Day, Good Prayers. I hope you're having a good day. Yesterday, when I did the late evening video, I did a video about all the things we're going to change. The first video yesterday had to do with the silver market. The second video had not only to do with silver, but it had to do with a lot of things that are going to change. Today, I want to tell you about the things that I have done to make the changes in my life. And the reason is that I need to prepare, just like all of us need to prepare. We need to be ready when the time comes, because we have a few opportunities yet, but those opportunities are going to begin to kind of go away. I need likes, I need subscribes, and I need shares. I need comments if you have any questions and so on. But this is the stuff that I have done. Over the last 6 or 7 years, I've been preparing by trying to get my financial house in order. I've been investing in things that I had never invested in before. As a financial planner, I was helping people buy stocks and bonds, annuities, insurance, various types of instruments, and so on. Even money market and CDs and so on. So I was doing a lot of that. But I really was only doing a little bit of preparing as far as precious metals was concerned. Just a little bit for myself. I wasn't doing a lot of that for others. There were times when people would get into various types of precious metals instruments, but in those days, most of what I was offering were paper products at best, and were not actually the silver and the gold in your hand as those things are today. Well, I began, like I said, 6 or 7 years ago preparing. I was investing in precious metals and cryptocurrencies and things of that nature, a little at a time. And anyway, about 3 years ago, I made the decision that I was going to start changing things about my health. And so I did. The first thing I did is I got rid of sugar out of my system. I do not eat any kind of sugar. I don't drink any kind of sugar anymore. Now that's your granulated sugars, both beet and cane sugar. Now I will have a little bit of coconut sugar, a little honey, sometimes pure maple syrup, and a few things like that. Even some of the sweeteners like stevia. I'll have some of those kinds of things. But I stay completely away from the granulated sugars. The reasons I do it is because I believe that white flour and granulated types of sugar are carcinogenic. These are the things, as far as I'm concerned, based upon what limited research I have done, are the things that help to breed cancer within your body. When I hear somebody say that sugar does not feed cancer, or that white flour does not feed cancer, it bothers me because of the fact that I believe it does. And I think that the research that has been done out there kind of proves it. You're going to hear a lot of things out of me that you won't hear from other people. And this is the next thing I want to discuss. The reason that you're going to hear things from me that you didn't hear from other people is that during the 1990s, I was learning a lot of stuff because a lot of these things were happening as I was learning them. The contracts that were signed, the statements that were being made by the globalists and so on, was happening in real time at that point. Then a lot of that stuff got shoved under the table so that you couldn't get that information anymore. And so I have a lot of things that I studied from 1991 into the early part of the 2000s that a lot of other people don't have. But in 2012, a whole new bunch of research was going out. Some things were found, and it began all over again with the process of a lot of the new things that you can research and find out about now. That's a very important thing to think about. Back to health. I had 3 years ago gotten rid of sugar out of my diet, and I don't do any of that anymore. And I don't plan to ever do that again. I don't plan to do a lot of white flour in my program anymore. From time to time, I'll have a biscuit or a roll or something, but I really try to stay away from that as much as possible. About 8.5 months ago, I had been losing some weight, but not a lot of weight, just some here and there. And I decided that I wanted to go on a specific diet, so I chose something called intermittent fasting. Now, the way they recommended it was that you do 8 hours of an eating window and 16 hours every day, which is where you would be doing your intermittent fasting. Well, I decided that I could eat what I needed to eat in 5 or 6 hours and then have an 18 to 19 hour intermittent fast. And so that's what I have been doing. Now, I listened to Dr. Berg, and he has said that if you can do 16, 18, 20, and even 24 hours of fasting at a time, that it'll actually help your system. And he gives a lot of different things that it will help. One thing, it helps to control cancer and a lot of the other things that would attack your body. Those things kind of go away because of that kind of eating. So I got rid of sugar and I did the diet. The reason that I did those things is because I have been researching all of this stuff. And if you look at that little profile circle on my videos, it's where I am introduced as Good Day, Good Prayers. If you look at that little profile picture, you will see all the things that are going to happen. And as I said yesterday, it's not an exhaustive list, but it's quite a bit of stuff there. And there are other things that you can research and find out as well. The reason I'm on the diet, the reason I'm staying away from sugar and flour and those kinds of things, is because of the fact that I don't want to get to the point where all these things are being implemented and then suddenly kick off. I'd like to be around for a while so that I can see what it's going to be like to live in a world that's first of all free. The people, the humans on this planet will be free. We won't be what the globalists had planned for us, which would be dead. And of course, we were enslaved for generations. But we're going to be away from all of that. And I want to see what it feels like to be a free man. I want to see what it feels like to be out of debt. I want to see what it feels like to have options and be able to do what I want to do for the rest of my life and not have limitations. And that's going to be the most exciting part of it, is that the limitations will no longer be there. So that's exciting in itself. So what I have done is I have invested And I have tried to get my health a little bit better. And so these are the things that I have done. Now, I'm not suggesting what you do. You do what you feel is right for you. And there are ways that you can get away from sugar. The way that I found is best is to take 4 24-hour periods, which is 96 hours. Stay away from sugar for that period of time. And what I found for myself was that I no longer had the craving for sugar. Once I got those 4 days in, those 4 24-hour periods, I was in pretty good shape. And so that's how it worked for me. And I believe that could work for you as well if you decide that you want to get away from sugar as well. It's not rocket science, it's kind of simple, but you do feel a lot better being away from the sugar. Getting away from the flour helps to keep your body from swelling up. One thing that Dr. Berg and a number of other people that talk about health say, and that is if you can get away from the chronic swelling, that will be one of the best things you can do for your heart. People who have chronic swelling on a daily basis are the ones who have a tendency to have the heart problems. And I think that was probably why I was diagnosed in my mid-20s with a heart problem, and then just a few years later diagnosed with lung problems, was because of the fact that I had chronic swelling and I had a lot of other issues. But it was because I was eating white flour, granulated sugar, and all those things. But getting away from that, eating fruits and vegetables, eating meats, eating eggs and things of that nature, I think are better for you in the long run. These are just some of the things. There are other things I want to tell you that have to do with some of the things that I've experienced. But for right now, I'm going to leave it at that. This is Kevin from Good Day, Good Prayers, and you folks have a good day.